Hey guys! Today we will be talking about matching headings, the topic that you have been requesting for so long, and finally I'm here to present it to you. And you know what? This is nothing difficult about matching headings, nothing really. And if you follow me to the end of the video, you will be sure about that. So we will follow the plan that we've created in our yes, no, not given question video, which you can find here in the info card. So first I will tell you a little bit about the strategies regarding the matching headings, and then we will proceed to the actual test and we will do it together. So please, first of all, spend time to read all the headings given. The first paragraph you're reading carefully to grasp the information, and then you just might skim the paragraph if you're comfortable with this. If not, please read a whole text, but make sure you are getting in your time frame and not out of it. So here comes the biggest tip of all. First, read the paragraph in order to find main ideas. Not only keywords, but main ideas, and distinguish between main ideas and extra information. Distinguish between main ideas and keywords, because keywords are used to transfer the main idea, but they're not always transferring any main idea to you, because sometimes they may just be an extra information, and this is what confuses you basically on the matching heading section. So when you're looking for a right heading, match main idea with the heading, not vocabulary that you see in the text, just the main idea. And just remember that not all the headings must be used. Now you're ready and let's proceed. And we will start with each section, reading them one by one, just because it is not convenient to read the whole text on the slides. So section A, you probably know that reading a whole paragraph is not always the best strategy, but here I advise you to read the first one carefully, because you just need to get the idea of what's going on in the paragraph and in the text as a whole. So we will read together the first one, and others you will read yourself, just pausing the video because it will take much longer than expected. The role of governments in environmental management is difficult but inescapable. Sometimes the state tries to manage the resources it owns and does so badly. Often, however, governments act in an even more harmful way. They actually subsidize the exploitation and consumption of natural resources. A whole range of policies, from farm price support to protection for coal mining, do environmental damage and often make no economic sense. Scrapping them offers a twofold bonus: a clearer environment and a more efficient economy. Growth and environmentalism can actually go hand in hand if politicians have the courage to confront the vested interest. Okay, right now we need to read all the headings. The first one is the probable effects of the new international trade agreement. The second, the environmental impact of modern farming. The third, farming and soil erosion. The effects of government policy in rich countries. Governments and management of the environment. The effects of government policy in poor countries. Farming and food output. The effects of government policy on food output. The new prospects for world trade. Now we have to identify the keywords in the text and to think which one of the headings fits best. So, in my opinion, the keywords will be governments and environmental management, because this is what we can find in our matching headings. We see that the number 5, for example, tells us directly governments and management of the environment. Let's think about others. Is the first one valid? Well, we do not have anything in the paragraph about international trade agreements, so not this one. The next one is about environmental impact on modern farming, and there is actually nothing about farming in the paragraph. The third one, again, about farming and soil erosion. This is not our option. Then the effects of government policy in rich countries. Have we heard anything about rich countries? No, we haven't. Have we heard anything about poor countries? No. So that is why the fourth and sixth ones are not just our options. Then goes farming and food output. No, there wasn't anything about it, as well as the effects of government policy on food output, because yes, we have talked about government policy in a paragraph, but not about food output and not about the world trade. So all of them are not valid except for the fifth one, which fits perfectly: government and management of the environment. So what about the next one? You can read it yourself. So here, after reading the paragraph, I think that the keywords are farming and world food output. Do you have anything matching with this in my heading? Actually, yes, I have a heading that is named exactly like this. The seventh heading is called farming and food output, and this is just exactly what we have in a paragraph. In a paragraph, it is stated the farming has the biggest impact on Earth, and then the discussion goes about the world food output and its fluctuations. So farming and food output is the best one for us. Okay, section C is all about damaging environmental impacts. Which ones exactly? The deforestation, then contamination of water, then soil erosion, then disappearance of old varieties of food. And all this happens because of different activities that we do on Earth. So pay attention, there is a sentence: soil erosion threatened the productivity of land in both rich and poor countries, which may confuse you because you have poor countries and rich countries in your matching headings. But again, they are not exactly matching, because here we are talking about the impact of farming, and the best fitting heading is the second one, the environmental impact on modern farming. So we are doing great so far. It's not very difficult when you read the paragraph or just skim it for the keywords. And if you see some triggering keywords, like here we had rich and poor countries that you also have in your headings, just try to read the whole sentence to understand that it's not actually about the meaning of a heading. Okay, next one is pretty large. Please pause the video to skim it or to read it the whole. But for me, I have already identified the keywords, and they are government policies in the first place, then rich countries. Here it is stated that we are talking about rich countries, especially Denmark, the Netherlands, New Zealand, and the European Union. So what exactly government policies has been imposed in those countries? For example, the subsidies for fertilizers, and then introducing new payments to encourage farmers to treat their land in environmentally friendlier ways. And that's how we understand that the best fitting heading in this case is actually number 4. The effects of government policy in rich countries, because this is obvious. We have here stated the rich countries that we are talking about, again, Denmark, the Netherlands, New Zealand, and the European Union. And we have here the government policies stated, which are, for example, the subsidies for fertilizers, and then payments to farmers, and so on. There is not much about soil erosion, for example, or international trade agreements. So it is clear that we put here heading number 4. The next one is again a pretty small one, and the keywords here are poor countries and again governmental policies. Which ones? Exactly, subsidies for pesticides and artificial fertilizers. We can go further in a paragraph to see that actually we are talking about, for example, Southeast Asia. And all the text is actually about fertilizers, different types of fertilizers. And in the very end of the paragraph, we have soil erosion, like a trigger word for you. You might be a little confused. You might think that this is the heading number 3 about farming and soil erosion. But actually, it's too little said about erosion for us to suppose that that is the right heading. So that is why the right heading for us
is actually which one? Let us see. The first one is about international trade agreements, so no, it doesn't work here. Then the effects of government policy on food output does not work here again because we do not have any figures for food output, although we have government policies here in the text stated. And then the new prospects for world trade again does not work because we are talking about governmental policies. So the seventh one, the effects of government policy in poor countries, is the best one to describe. Great, and the next section is about the Uruguay round of world trade negotiations. So this is a huge keyword already because you should know that there is a structure for paragraphs in each IELTS reading. And the first sentence in a paragraph is always the topic sentence. So you understand from the first sentence that it will be going on about world trade negotiations. So this is a huge keyword. And in which countries? In the rich countries, but this is not our trigger because we have already had the heading with rich countries keyword, which is number 4. So here it doesn't work actually. Then we also have poor countries in the text stated. We have some farming, we have some environmental effects. But if you read it carefully, you will understand that the main idea of a text is about the negotiations and about its outcomes. Some environmentalists worrying about them. So that is why the heading will be the probable effects of the new international trade agreement, because we have here two huge keywords. Trade agreement, which is obvious from the first 2 sentences in the paragraph, and then the probable effects, because we have a sentence, some environmentalists worry about this outcome. It will undoubtedly mean more pressure to convert natural habitat into farmland, and then desirable environmental effects it may have. So a lot of different effects, and that is basically stated in our heading.
That's it, guys. Was it difficult? I don't think so. As long as you distinguish the keywords from the main ideas, you're good, and you're always finding that right heading. Okay, I will be very happy if you decide to leave a like for me or even subscribe. And as always, I will be delighted to see you again here. Ciao!